Hello everyone and welcome back to the Railroad Explained, where we talk about history of trains, their mechanics, and more. Topic of discussion today is not a superpower locomotive. She was never the biggest or the heaviest locomotive. However, she is the workhorse for what is most likely the oldest railroad in America. Our topic of discussion today is Strasburg Railroad, formerly Great Western, number 90. Before joining Strasburg, number 90 worked on the Great Western Railway. Yes, there was a railway of the same name in the United Kingdom, however, this one was based out of Colorado. It was a short line founded to serve the Great Western Sugar Companies in the early 1900s. The railroad mostly relied on a fleet of 280 consolidation types, however, they eventually needed a little bit more power, and in June of 1924, number 90 was brought onto the scene. Number 90 is a 210 decapod locomotive built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. 210 decapod refers to the wheel arrangement. It means two leading wheels, 10 driving wheels, and no trailing wheels. Her driver wheelbase was around 20 feet long, and she only weighed around 212,000 pounds. She wasn't a massive locomotive by any stretch of the imagination, but that made her well suited for short lines and smaller railroads. However, her being a decapod, she could provide high tractive error for her relative size. She operated at a boiler pressure around 190 psi, powering 24-inch by 29-inch cylinders, driving 56-inch main drivers. She produced somewhere around the ballpark of 46,000 pound attractive effort. By comparison, I believe I did it in the last video, a K4 Pacific, which weighs more, has a less attractive effort. Now, that is a advantage of the decapod design. While common issues with the decapods overall still plagued 90, it wasn't anywhere near as big of a factor due to the fact that she is a short line operator. I'm not going to go through all of them. Please check out the decapods video that I made on some more on that. But biggest thing when it comes to, in this case, what we would be looking at is more along the lines of speed and reversibility. Because of the lack of a trailing truck, however, it being a short line, those issues are relatively negated at all. Now, that said, number 90 would be the only decapod to operate on the Great Western Railway from what I have seen. As usual, I normally include this in the beginning of the video, however, I will add it now. Any and all information could be very much incorrect in these videos, so please take everything with a grain of salt. Number 90 would probably serve for around 40 years or so until retirement. Even after the diesels started to appear and as they took over, she along with the other 280s on the railway would be continued to use during the fall sugar beet rush and whenever they need extra motive power. By the 1960s, number 90 would be for the most part phased out almost entirely. However, she would still be used for some other excursions. The following story, which apparently happened, I have only seen it on one of my sources, so I have absolutely no clue if this is any truth to this at all, but this is apparently what happened. At one of the excursions, Strasburg's chief mechanical officer at the time met Great Western superintendent, and apparently the superintendent grew up close to within the vicinity of the Strasburg Railroad. A deal was struck with Strasburg that the locomotive, once Great Western decided to retire entirely, would be sold to them. In April of 1967, Strasburg Railroad bought number 90 for around $23,000, or that's roughly around $210,000 in today's money. She would arrive on the East Coast around roughly a month later. 90 was already in operational condition when she arrived. This meant that a major overhaul was not necessary. She arrived a little bit in the early days of May, and by May 13th, she was almost immediately put to work on the Strasburg Railroad, pulling small passenger trips and potentially every so often the occasional freight that they still run. In 1968, number 90 would journey out to the Reading and Northern Railroad. For those who don't know, Reading and Northern is currently, as of this video's release, home to the Pacific number 425 and recently restored Northern number 2102. Back in 68, an excursion was being held by the High Iron Company, and they wanted to do a few steam excursions around the area. The original locomotives they were going to use, unfortunately, had been moved to Pittsburgh for emergency boiler use and power generation, steam heating, all that. So they decided to use Canadian Pacific number 127. However, it was due to the length of the train, it was not powerful enough to get it up the grades around Jim Thorpe. Jim Thorpe is within like the Lehigh Valley area of and it's partially on the Reading and Northern line. Mostly it is Reading, Blue Mountain, and Northern, their passenger service and tourist line that kind of serves along there right now. Number 90 was sent out there as helper service, and she would help double head to get up the grades. The excursions ran on to roughly around the end of 68, a little bit before that. So she would be stationed at Reading and Northern until she was finished her work, and then she was sent back to Strasburg. Unlike some locomotives that had known for accidents or had a couple of major accidents within their life, number 90 only had one accident in her life, and that was back in 1944, so it was not a recent event. She was running through a grade crossing when a truck, for some reason, none of the sources explain how, ran into her at full speed. This flipped the locomotive, killing the fireman and the truck driver. However, the driver, as far as I know, did survive. That was the only major accident. She was very quickly repaired, and then she was sent back into service. Number 90 is one of two operational Decabot locomotives in the United States. The other one being 1630. 1630, however, is a Russian Decapod locomotive. This meant that she was built for Russia. However, it was never delivered and was sent to a American railroad, in this case, the Frisco. As of when this video was made, I'm not sure if 90 is currently running. Recently went to the Strasburg Railroad with some friends, and she was not running at the time. At the end of 2022, she had to undergo her FRA 15-year boiler inspection, so I'm not entirely sure if they completed her repairs yet or not. However, it was almost definitely that she'll be returned to service. So everyone, really hope you enjoyed this video. Might have been a little bit on the short side. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of history to number 90, because nothing really eventful has happened in her life or anything of the sort. So it is a little bit shorter. I apologize for that. I would like to make a little bit longer for content, but it really does depend on how much information I can find on whatever I'm making a topic on. I also like to apologize for the lack of videos. Life just really got in the way of everything, and just didn't have time for a while to be able to do anything. I'm really hoping that I can start to get back into it a little bit more. This video is really just a holdover until I can make the next one. And I will try my best to continue keeping on this channel, because I know that this is one of the few channels. A few channels that, like, I guess do this kind of format, whether it be quick, long, or offensive. Now, I will try to find a longer topic to work on next time that I potentially could go more into. And I really appreciate those of you who stuck around and really enjoyed the content. It means a whole lot to me. I'm hoping that I could continue to grow this channel and make it a lot better than how it already is. And for a small channel, this is actually quite well, and I'm really happy about that. But yeah, really thank you guys for sticking around. Really, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll hopefully get another video out by next month if we're lucky. Maybe the month after that. It really depends on how life decides to take its course. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.